let's go back to Cam Ward for a minute. When you look at him, what do you see? I heard a comparison, and I think it was Chris Sims said Steve McNair. I hadn't thought of that one before. It's kind of intriguing because coming out of Alcorn State, there were some questions. You know, he was an athletic guy. Was he really a quarterback? And he ended up becoming a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, he's a bit unorthodox in his throwing motion, and some of the comparisons I've heard, Jordan Love is one that's been brought up. But, Trevor Sikkim, our lead draft analyst here at PFF, he talks about he's got a little bit of Ben Roethlisberger even in him. He's not that size quite like Ben was, but he's got that gunslinger mentality and that mobility that can help him make throws outside the pocket. I think about him a little bit as maybe a slightly less athletic version even of Caleb Williams. I think I see some similarities in there too. But you're talking about a gunslinger. You're talking about a guy who is absolutely fearless. He's not afraid of anybody. He's been through so much adversity, 0-star recruit, 3 different schools, culminating as a Heisman finalist this year at Miami. He's not afraid of anybody. He's not afraid of any throw. Every once in a while, that can get him into trouble. But you're talking about a guy with a really good arm, a fearless player who can move outside the pocket and make throws all over the field outside the pocket as well. I think you got to rein him in a little bit, just like, again, you think about a Jordan Love or a Caleb Williams, got to reel him in just a little bit sometimes late in the play, but he takes his chances downfield. He's a good vertical passer, especially when he's got a clean pocket to work with.
What would you think it would take to move up from 2 to 1? Assuming Andrew Berry falls in love with Cam Ward, got to have Cam Ward. What would it take for the Browns to get up from 2 to 1?
I think it depends on how much Tennessee covets one player over the other, right? If they're thinking, okay, they would be satisfied with either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, I think they're really looking at quarterback in this situation right now with where they're at. They can't walk into next year with Will Levis as their starting quarterback. So if they value them relatively equally, that may drive the value down a little bit. If it's to get Cam Ward and they're sitting there locked in on Cam Ward and it would take a lot more, then we're talking about a higher price. But I would think, I know it's to move up just one spot, but it's also the most coveted spot in the draft. It would take somewhere between a 3rd and 4th round pick, I would think, even just for that one spot. That's usually where that goes when you're inside the top 10, maybe usually closer to a 4th round pick. But when you're talking about moving up to that number 1 spot, it really depends to me on what the Titans not only think about Cam Ward, but about Shedeur Sanders. Because if the Browns are moving up to take Ward, then the Titans have to feel satisfied with Sanders, or, we haven't really heard them about finding a veteran option yet, but that could still be on the table. It really depends on how they value both of those guys in comparison to each other.
Yeah, that's fair. If it would be a 3rd round pick, I could see that being something that Andrew Berry would do if you value him that much.